So recently, we've been noticing, and I know I'm not alone in this, and that's why I'm saying we, because a lot of us have been noticing over the past several years, if not recently in the past year or so, the rise of female-led characters with shape-shifting powers. Whether they're from an official source, like let's say DC and Warner Brothers announcing a Plastic Man movie with a female lead that's changing the gender of Plastic Man to a Plastic Woman, or basically more so than ever, as you would notice, going to places like DeviantArt, Furfinity, and so forth, in all these places, more so than ever, and even fanfiction.net, fan-made material, fan-made characters, OCs, if you will, that have these powers. You're starting to notice that more so than ever. But the question obviously is why? Why are male and female artists, writers, creators going in that direction? Why are they choosing females over males? Well, first of all, they're not totally doing that. One of the people that I watch on DeviantArt, I follow on DeviantArt, Jackie LaCour, aka Michelle, has a series called Becoming Unlimited, and the main character, Isaac, I think that's his name, Izzy or Isaac, has gained these clay face-like powers through an experiment, but because of his mishandling of it, he now kind of lives in limbo. He now exists out of existence. He's in limbo because the personalities that he created, from having these powers, have become their own individual personalities. They've want the freedom, and thus they've separated completely, split themselves completely in two, to where now Isaac, Izzy, if you will, like I say, exists no more, basically exists in a non-existent limbo, if you will. He's kind of like, he's existing, but he's not existing kind of deal. So again, it's not just, so they don't just focus on female characters, but a majority of the stories that I and others have seen on places like DeviantArt and Furfinity and all of them, have basically showed otherwise. As I mentioned before, Mr. Internet Man on DeviantArt has a character called Demonica, part of his Mystic Makeover series, and her human alter ego Veronica has the powers to become Demonica by using what's known as the Night Shadow or Nightshade lipstick to turn her into Demonica, and thus she's able to gain the ability to shapeshift into whatever she wants, and even clone herself, twin herself into as many separate female entities as she wants. And one of the things she likes to do when she does that is, well, make out with herself, if you kind of get my drift. But then you also have the inclusion of a character that she becomes friends with called Rebecca, who has the same abilities, and she becomes a character called Exotica. And at most times when they get together, not only do they like to shapeshift into different, individuals and things, but they like to fuse together into one. And one of the primary characters that they've done an equal fuse into is called Zaya, which is basically an equal creation of both of them, but her own individual person. But it's not just, Mr. Internet Man either. Minor Dash Alterations has done a spin-off series that I've mentioned before, based on Demonica, and has added their own character, an FBI agent called Ruby Walker, who by the end of one of the most recent chapters seems to have gained permanently, not just temporarily, but permanently, the same kind of abilities. And word has it, from what last I heard, they want to try to plan to expand on the world. That's basically what they're doing with the series, is they're expanding on the world of Demonica to, show not only the fun and mischief that she and Ruby can get into with these powers, but also show maybe the consequences of, not being careful, about, what they're doing, about what they're, what they're doing, about, possibly exposing themselves without even realizing it, kind of deal. So there's that. And then, going back to Jackie LaCour, Michelle, she has a main series called Metamorphosized to Malleability, where she basically has a character called Briella who gains these kind of powers through a lab experiment, and now she's mastered it so much that she could split herself into multiple pieces of herself, with their own individual thoughts, so basically on somewhat individual, but on the same wavelength like thoughts, and put them into different places while she's like doing something else. And now we have AZ and Zoser, just AZ as I'm going to call him, with Morphica, who basically, like Briella, gained her powers through a science lab experiment, and her powers are her shapeshifting powers are that of Yim, basically a substance that's in all creation, if you will, all materials, if you will. The Yim is a substance in all, creation of materials. And there have been several times that, AZ and Mr. Internet Man have collabed together to where, their characters will, fuse into one and realize, oh, we're an ancient goddess that was asleep in within both these powers, and these two women that have chosen to have these powers are the ones that have chosen to have the best interest at heart or whatever. So there's that. They've done that. They've done, where they've done a fusion or something like an equal merging, where both Morphica and Demonica become, different characters, like, Lady Hell and Hellcat, and they have like an equal merging together to become Lady Hellcat or something like that. So, so you have AZ and her character his character Morphica, and you have many others as well. You have Grape Hythenia with her characters of Roman and his love interest Corey, I think, and What Dreams May Become. You have the Potion Place Palace, the Potion Place Gina series that I helped contribute to. So, all the characters basically are mostly female, the female led, and they have these powers. But again, the question is, why do they have these powers? And I think honestly, it's because they feel females are more, maybe my own personal opinion, no offense, they feel females are more creatively imaginative and know what to do when it comes to having these kind of powers, how to have fun with them from a creative, imaginary, side of things, if you will. So I think that's why, when you look at fan-made works and even official works, why lately female leads have been chosen to have these kind of powers. It's mostly because of the fact that, from a I think their own personal point of view, both male and female creators, writers, artists, that the female mind is more creative and more imaginative, than the male mind, and they know exactly what to do, or they know exactly what to do. I'm trying to say, and how to utilize these powers when it, because of that creativity and that imaginative mind that they have. So, that's why. Basically, I think female characters as of late have been in fan-made and somewhat official material have been chosen to have these powers. Just my opinion. But let me know what your thoughts are. Why do you think that is the case? Why do you think females have been chosen more so over males when it comes to these kind of powers lately? What are your thoughts? Comment down below. Sorry if I stumbled on my words. I'm trying to do this as quickly as I can before my mom gets home. But let me know what your thoughts are. And I will talk to y'all later.